Yeah.
Surprise, a little different than you're used to.
Yeah.
Dropping these bars on YouTube, knowledge I introduce you.
Yeah.
We chasing this money like it's the prize, it's the voodoo. Fugazi, fugazi, it's just a lie we buying into.
Yeah.
We need some cars on deck. Get the rollies, get the moe, all the Mars on deck. All right, what's going on, people? Thank you so much for joining me. I actually get to talk a little bit about my team and in relation to the topic on this channel. And I think this is probably going to be one of the only times where I'm going to be able to do that. So let's give this a good old whirl, because I've certainly been paying attention to news last night around the United share price. And I do want to provide a little bit of commentary on that because I think it's important and it's relevant, particularly if you are in the investing field at this point in time. And yeah, you've been following the journey. And to start this off, actually, I do have a poll right now, and I know that some of you have already responded, but please do let me know. In the saga of this club sale, who do you want to win the bidding? Who would you want to own United? Do you want to have the Qataris, or do you want Sir Jim and Ineos to own the club? Let me know, because I would really love to know what your thoughts are in the poll. Something literally just came off, so I need to reconnect my my screen share here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you a couple of things about the club, the stock price, talk about what's happened over the last maybe 12 hours or so, where the price is trading at the moment. The New York Stock Exchange isn't open and for another 2 hours roughly. The stock exchange in New York will open at 2:30 UK time, 9:30 US time. So we still got a little bit of time. We'll have a look at what's been going on with the share price. I do want to delve a little bit into the United picture from a financial point of view, because, you know, we can say as fans that the club has been a mess when it comes to football for probably since we last won the Premier League, 10 years ago. The business side to the club as well isn't in the best state either. And I want to highlight that in one of the screens that I'm going to share with you in a moment, just around what the investor sentiment is like for this club right now. We're also going to follow a few other sources and stuff like that and talk about, look, is this an opportunity? Is this an opportunity? Because if the Qataris do win, potentially there is, but obviously with all things, there is risk involved in it as well. So let me just grab, now that this is actually back up and running, the right screen to share with you guys. And we're just going to talk through what's happened in the after hours trading over the past 12 hours or so. Let me just make sure I got this right. 1 second. Let me just recalibrate this one. There we go. All right. So I'm looking at Market Watch. Now, if you are following any of the other United channels, I followed Sam over on United People's TV. Great guy, great channel. They've been covering a lot of this, okay? So Market Watch gives you an idea of what the share price has been and the activity that we've seen in the share price overnight after hours since yesterday and when the New York Stock Exchange actually closed. Now, currently, at this point in time, share price for one United share is £24.30. Now, it closed around about $20 last night. So that's quite a significant jump, about $4.30. At one point, it actually peaked around about $26. What we're seeing it bounce around, as you can see in this graph a little bit here. Now, interestingly, it is also worthwhile just noting the change numbers here. So the close was actually $20.13, and the change at this point in time is 3.98%. Now, when you start having a look at what the typical range is, so the 52-week high, which you can see here. So if that means if you go back 52 weeks from today, what was the highest price that the shares achieved? Well, that's $27.34. Now, the reason why this is important, there are a couple of things that are worthwhile talking about with this here. Let me just come back onto full screen, but really, really quickly. The reason why this is, I guess, exciting for people who are in the camp that want the Qataris to actually own and win this bid for the club is that the Qatari bid is to own 100% of the United shares. So the United shares at the moment are currently split. So you've got 69% owned by the Glazers, right? Then 31% of the shares of United are on the New York Stock Exchange. Now, the Qataris are bidding to own 100% of all of the shares, which means they'll buy the Glazers out. And they're also going to buy the 31% on the New York Stock Exchange. Now, if you look at the bid, the fifth bid that Sheikh Jassim put in, last week or so, where he gave the ultimatum of Friday being the response time, which the Glazers obviously haven't come back to. We'll talk about that in a moment, actually. That bid put the share price in the region of about $30 to $35. And at the time when he made that bid, I think it was about $18, $19 a share. So that means that if the Qataris do win this bid, the shares on the New York Stock Exchange will have to be bought out from between $30 to $35. I think $30 is the sweet spot. Now, when you look at this, now let's come back onto this right here. The share price at the moment is $24.30. And so a lot of people are seeing this as an opportunity potentially to basically get in, buy some shares right now in the hope that if Qatar does win, well, there's a $6 uplift right there immediately, potentially if they win and they buy the remaining 31% of shares on the New York Stock Exchange. That's the theory that I guess a lot of people will be working towards. Now, what is interesting is whenever you see share prices like this move up, you have to question what's happening behind the scenes for the share prices to move up. Now, if Ineos were to win this bid, there is no benefit for shareholders, for the New York Stock Exchange or anyone who owns shares in United right now. There's no benefit at all because from what we've been hearing is that he wants to keep, or he's trying to come up with a package that will allow two of the Glazers to stay, but give him a majority stake. So I think he's going to buy 51% to get majority stake in the business, which means that the remaining share, 18 shares or so, 18% in shares will keep two of the Glazers on. It still leaves intact the 31% on the New York Stock Exchange. So a lot of people are speculating right now that seeing the share price move over the last 12 months is an indication that Qatar is actually going to win this bid. Now, before anything goes public, before you and I will know, before the media will know, the United board are obligated to tell the New York Stock Exchange. Why? Because it is a material change in the structure of the business, right? And it will materially impact the share price. So a lot of the activity that we've seen over the last 12 hours or so, with the share price going pretty nuts in after hours, is speculating that possibly Qatar are going to win. That's the speculation. I don't know whether this is going to be true or not. Now, it is also just worthwhile just having a look at some of the sources here, because when you look at some of the big sources, if you look at people like Ben Jacobs here, he's saying in this tweet right here, lots of speculation on the Manchester United sales process and out of hour stock price surge reacting to that. But as of last night, no group had been informed they are successful. Not expecting any public or groundbreaking news in the next few days. If that changes, we'll update you. And actually, there are news outlets that are actually reporting this today, that actually Sheikh Jassim still hasn't been told whether or not that bid is actually successful or not. So we don't know what's happening. But what I do want to do, and I think it's really, really important to kind of just point this out, which kind of leans a little bit more to the topics that we kind of discuss here on the channel. Outside of all of this euphoria of Qatar possibly winning, Qatar possibly being the new owners of Manchester United, what does Manchester United actually look like in terms of an investment proposition for investors out there in the markets right now? And I do want to share this with you, right? So this is investing.com. And remember, right now, this is the closing price, the closing trading price of the shares at $20.13. And it says here actually unusual pre-market activity. So they are acknowledging there's been quite a lot of market activity in after hours. Interesting point. This surge that we've seen from $20 since close of the New York stock market last night to where it is right now, which if we just go back onto Market Watch, $24.30. That over the last 12 hours has added $1 billion to the value of United. is pretty nuts. There's lots of activity going on. But what I do want to do, let's just answer the question. Is this a good business to invest in? Period. We know things have been a mess on the field. Things aren't necessarily that great when it comes to the business side either. So let's just have a look at this, because this gives you a good idea of the health of the business, generally speaking. Now, according to Investing Pros, investing.com here in the pro section of the website here, the fair value for United right now is actually $13.23. $13.23. So we're at significant premium right now. And if the Qataris do win this bid, it will be at a significant premium, almost what? Double, over double the fair value of the share price right now. But here's the real thing. You look at the company score is weak. And if you look at the financial health, really, really weak. And you can actually go into this for a little bit more information. And I think it's worthwhile just taking a look at, because there are tons of risk warnings when you look at the company profile here. And what they're saying here, poor earnings and cash flow may force dividend cuts. I mean, the club pays dividends right now, but it's not a huge dividend rate at all. There are impressive gross profit margins, significant return over the past week. Obviously, there's been a lot of activity over the last 24 hours or so, but there are lots of red flags. Revenue growth has been slowing down recently. Stockholders receive poor returns on book equity. Short-term obligations exceed liquid assets. Analysts do not anticipate the company will be profitable this year. I mean, if you look at it from a business point of view, the stock doesn't look so attractive. And when you start looking at the wider financial health scores, I mean, this is how it stacks up. I mean, look, we've been complaining about how the team have been playing and the performance of the team over the last, 2 or 3 seasons. I mean, Ten Hag's done an amazing job this season. But when the business is like this is going to transfer to the pitch, which is the reason why there is so much, I guess, passion around the fact that the Glazers just need to go. One benefit that will come to the forefront is if the Qataris win, the package means that all of our debt gets written off, and we've got about 963 million pounds in debt right now. That's all going to be written off with this Qatari bid. And so, what is actually going to happen? And more importantly, is this an opportunity potentially for you to make money if you go and buy some United stock right now at the share price? I mean, let's just go back onto Market Watch right here. So, well, actually, we're down now, $22.78. Like I said, if the Qataris win this bid, they will have to buy the 31% of shares on the market for about $30 or so. So if you look at it in the cold light of day, you could argue, let me just get this one up. Sorry, apologies, guys. Right, so it's $22.78 right now. So if you look at it in the cold light of day, there is potentially an opportunity for you to make money if the Qataris win. If the Qataris win, because they will have to buy out at $30, maybe even $35. We know that. And so there is a nice bit of margin in there. However, and this is the important thing, we don't know whether they are going to win. We don't know whether any of this can be relied upon in terms of what's happened over the last 12 hours or so. If you do take a position and you do decide to take a position, just do it in the knowledge that potentially you could lose money. And as long as you're happy with that, as long as you allocate a little bit of money that you're happy to lose, then that's completely fine. The market is going to open in just over 2 hours time. Well, just under 2 hours, so about an hour 45 minutes now. The market in New York is going to open. It's going to be very, very interesting to see whether or not we see the share price fall from this $22.78 that it is at the moment down to about $20, $19 ish. If it does that mean anything? I don't know. We'll have to have a look and see what the analysts are saying and what the news is saying. But if they win, potentially there is a market. Like I always say, though, look, there is risk to this stuff. So make sure that you are happy to basically say goodbye to the money if you do decide to take a position. And if you do, and the Qataris do win, well, I think just money aside, just as a United fan, I would love to be able to see the debt on the club actually be wiped out. I would love to be able to see the investment go into the club. I mean, I've been to Old Trafford a couple of times, and I don't live too far from Manchester, and just seeing the state of the stadium is just poor, especially when you compare it to the likes of Spurs with a brand new stadium, and even the City Stadium. I mean, come on, like seriously. We need serious investment. We need to have the Glazers gone. And I don't know whether you agree with me. If you're a United fan, you probably will agree with me. Um, I just don't like the idea of the Glazers actually staying and the package Sir Jim Ratcliffe is trying to kind of put together to keep them on. Um, I don't know. It's a difficult one. Let me just double check the polls here. What is everyone saying in the polls right now? What's everyone saying in the polls right now? So everyone in the poll is saying right now, so these are the results of the poll. 69% of you want Qatar to win, 30% want Ineos to win. And you know what? I'm in that 69% camp as well. I would love to have a fresh start. I would love to see that, just be able to start from scratch. I mean, I think we've got a manager right now that needs the backing, and having the financial resources of Qatar behind the club obviously allows us to go and buy players and structure the club in a way that gives us the ability to really move forward with investment and actually do it properly. And having Ten Hag as a manager gives you confidence for the first time in a very, 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 very long time that the club is moving in the right direction. But I honestly feel that if the Glazers stay on, even under the guise of Ineos winning, which there is probably a good chance that he might still win. I hope not. I just don't know that with them being there, that it doesn't have that feel good factor. I think a clean break is what you basically need in this kind of situation, particularly with, City winning the treble this past weekend. I mean, I have literally avoided all news, all the reels on Instagram and TikTok. I don't want to hear it. Talksport, don't want to hear it. Do not want to hear any of it. Right. And good, well done to the team. You've got to admire. I mean, that team is amazing. Haaland and all of the boys there. But still, it's one of those things where it's like they're in the same city. They're in the same city. We are rivals. And they've just done this amazing thing that really United had the accolade on for the longest time. And if this doesn't happen now to try and move the club forward, I don't know when it is ever going to happen. And I fear that we lose ground even further, particularly with the investment coming in from Saudi for, Newcastle. I mean, Chelsea are going to pick up next year. What's it, Lopetegui? Is it not Lopetegui? Who's the guy that's just gone into Spurs? He's going to do a great job there. Arsenal. I mean, we've got a lot of competition, and we need the resources to be able to challenge moving forward. And it's not likely that we're going to be able to do that under the Glazers. Anyway, that's just my views as a United fan. And yeah, fingers crossed we're going to hear a little bit more. I've certainly been tracking and listening, paying attention attentively. But who knows what's going to happen. Just a little bit of a heads up. This evening, I have a more run-of-the-mill live stream planned. We're going to be talking about how to improve your credit score. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the factors that actually matter. And I'm going to show you my credit score and what's on my credit score so that you can kind of gauge what information to look at from my score in terms of what works for me and what is factoring in to my good credit score report. So I think it's a nice way to just share, because a lot of people say that you do this, but I'm actually going to show you in ClearScore what mine looks like and all the positive areas that are working in my favor, so that when you go and download a ClearScore or an Experian or something like that, you know exactly what to look for in terms of what to improve. So that's going to be happening this evening at 6 p.m. I would love for you to join me. But thank you so much for having this little conversation with me about something that I hope gets resolved very, very soon. And I hope that when it does, we can actually compete properly within the Premier League and give City. I mean, I haven't even mentioned Liverpool. I mean, they've just bought Alistair from Brighton. I mean, they're going to be challenging as well. So there's a lot of competition in the Premier League. I mean, there's a lot. And for us to be battling top four, yeah, I mean, that's great, but it's not quite good enough. Like, we need to be in a Premier League challenging position every single year. And I think we've got the manager to do that. So hopefully we get a Qatari win and we get the Glazers out of there, and we're able to kind of press forward with Ten Hag and a rebuild of the team. Thank you so much, guys. Catch you later on, 6 p.m.
Yeah, surprise, a little different than you used to. Yeah. Dropping these bars on YouTube, knowledge I introduce you. Yeah. We chasing this money like it's the prize, it's the voodoo. Fugazi, it's just a lie we buying into. We need some cars on deck. Get the rollies, get the Moe, all the Mars on deck. We got the traders, got the picture with the Bentley in Dubai. Are you dripping in designer, looking fly? On the bombardier, sipping on the wine. Broke man, we broke. Where's the fun in being broke? Stocks and bonds get you yo. That's what I'm teaching these folks. I see that smoke, see them choke. Getting coke. While I'm researching these stocks, buying coke. 20 months on the channel, million people taking note. I got a warrant for Buffet. I'm coming for his vote.